What's up guys, and welcome to Mage. My name is Eric and welcome to World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor, where we take a look at Mage's Mage changes for Warlords of Draenor patch 6.0. And guys, please keep in mind that this is still the alpha. We haven't even reached beta yet, so everything can change basically. Now you know, and let's focus on the video, shall we? Alright guys, let's get this party started. Oh well, it's not a party, but anyway, let me just start, okay? I'm gonna be going over all you need to know about every single point of this, and this, and this, and this. I'm gonna be going over everything. So don't worry, sit back and enjoy, and I'm also gonna be telling you my opinions on everything as we progress through this text. And I have something in my stomach, so I might cough several times throughout this video. I'm sorry already. Anyway, let's get this started, shall we? The Mage class has good specialization distinction when it comes to their single target rotations, but utility and area of effect spells were heavily shared between specializations. Commonly, these spells were redundant as well, and we made many of their spells specialization specific, as described in ability pruning above, and probably most significant, we made changes to several existing talents. Presence of Mind was extremely strong for instant CC, which we wanted to curtail. Rather than completely remove Presence of Mind or make it not affect the CC abilities, we made it a base Arcane spell, where we don't expect that it will be a problem, since Arcane has less CC than the other Mage specs already. In this place, we've added a new talent, Evenness. Presence of Mind is no longer a talent and is instead learned by Arcane mages only. So, this is cool. It will not affect Presence of Mind. We will still be able to have instant CCs, but you have to be an Arcane mage and it will no longer be a talent. Evenness is this new talent that will replace Presence of Mind in the left level 15 talent row. Evenness, fade into the nether, avoiding all attacks against you for 3 seconds. This spell may be cast while a cast time spell is in progress and is not on global cooldown. Replaces Ice Block and has a 45-second cooldown. Fade into the nether and you will avoid all attacks against you for 3 seconds. That is good. 3 seconds is actually a long time and very, very effective too. Like, this is all damage for 3 seconds you will reduce to 0. And this spell can also be cast while you're, example, casting a Frostfire Bolt. So if you're casting a Frostfire Bolt and you're halfway through your cast, you can just activate this meanwhile you're casting, which is also very great. It does not have a global cooldown, and that is actually a very good effect too. So you can actually use it right away and escape from your target over those 3 seconds. But the bad thing about it though is that it replaces Icebug, and I like Icebug very much, so it will be very interesting to see what's best. But as I said, I'm gonna show you all of these changes when the beta goes live, and I will notify you, so don't worry. Going along with our goals to reduce cooldown stacking across of all the classes, we decided to remove Aldertime's DPS contribution. Aldertime has a number of clever movement and utility uses, but in practice it was mostly being used for additional uptime of offensive cooldowns. Mages also had many redundant forms of survival utility, so we moved a utility-only version of Aldertime into the talent tree, replacing Temporal Shield. Temporal Shield has been removed, and Aldertime is now a level 30 talent, replacing Temporal Shield. They have made Aldertime so much different now. It will now last for 15 seconds, up from 6 seconds. That is a good thing. Has a 90-second cooldown. That is down for 3 seconds. That is actually half as long as it used to, which is also a significant buff, if you ask me, and no longer affects the casting mage mana buffs or debuffs. This is very, very good. But also, if you think about it, here's an example. If you proc 2 arcane missiles and you activate all the time, you usually activate your 2 arcane missiles right away, and you use all the time to get back where you were. This time you will not receive your arcane missiles procs back, etc., and your trinkets will not get back where you used it at the first point. So everything counts. So it will no longer be used in offensive when you open on your target, etc. Which I'm gonna it's just something we have to get used to basically. But they're focusing on its main point now is utility, which I also think is great. A few of the abilities reset by Cold Snap were made spec specific or could be overridden with talents, so we expanded what it can to it can affect to compensate. Cold Snap now also resets the cooldown of Presence of Mind, Dragon's Breath, and Evanescence. That is great. Even more mage core spells that can be reset with Cold Snap, which makes it much more useful, of course. And let's get down to business. This is interesting. The Mage Bomb level 75 talent row, the Bomb row, was also problematic. We chose to add the bombs to all mages' rotations in order to spice them up a bit, to provide rotational variety. That succeeded, and we are overall happy with how they interact with your rotation in a single target situation. But they also come with the prospect of multi-dotting, applying your damage over time spell to many enemies individually, which we don't feel is an appropriate fit for mages. Additionally, in order to make all 3 bombs useful to all specialization, we had to lose some of their spec-specific perks, and even more importantly, many mages did not like the dot gameplay at all, including me. I actually hate to dot up every single target and after that be able to nuke my target. No, I actually like this. In order to solve all of these problems, we decided to merge the 3 current bomb talents into one that changes based on spec. That allows us to reintroduce spec-specific perks to each bomb and makes room for some non-dot alternatives. Okay, interesting. So all of the 3 mage bombs are now merged into one, and it will change based on your specs. So if you're going from frost to fire, you will no longer have frost bomb, but you will have 11 bomb instead. It will automatically change. So you're now bound to your class, your spec specific talent, which I also think is good. But they've made some changes to the bombs too. Nether Tempest, Living Bomb, and Frost Bomb are now available only to their corresponding specialization and share the left talent slot. Nether Tempest can only be on one target now at a time, down from unlimited. But its secondary damage now hits all targets in range up from only 1 and deals 100% of the primary damage up from 50%. A very good buff if it's going to be single target, but AoE it will because the more targets you place your dot on, the higher your chances for proccing your spells, etc. will increase, of course, but its damage is increased significantly, also by actually 2 times as much, and it will also deal all of the damage to all targets in range up from only 1. Living Bomb can once again be applied to multiple targets, can be spread by Inferno Blast, and has a 1.5 second cooldown. More of its damage has been moved into its explosion, so it can now still be added to up to 3 targets, which is multiple targets at a time. Can also be spread by Inferno Blast, and has a 1.5 second cooldown now. So it's no longer a cooldown-less spell. But I don't think we will see this that much. I don't think we will recognize it that much, because if we are not going to dot up so many targets at a specific time now, instead of just 1.5 second cooldown is not much. We won't recognize it that much. That's my opinion. And now they have also made it much more. More of its damage has now been moved into the explosion instead of the dot overall in itself. Yeah. Frost Bomb has been completely redesigned. It now lasts 12 seconds, has no cooldown, and explodes every time the target is critically hit by the Mage's Ice Lance ability. The damage per explosion has also been reduced by 75% to compensate. So you will now put a debuff on your target for 12 seconds. It doesn't have a cooldown, and it will explode every time your Ice Lance will crit on your target. But they have also reduced the damage by 75% in order to compensate, in order to make it fair spell. Because if it was 100%, it will be so OP, because your Ice Lances will proc much. And that was now all the bombs merged into one. We have two brand new talents here that are all very interesting. Unstable Magic is a new level is a new talent available at level 75 in the middle talent slot. Unstable Magic, Arcane Blast, Fireball and Frostbolt have a 25% chance to explode on impact, dealing an additional 50% damage to the target and all other enemies within 8 yards. So that is very good for AoE. Like your core spells for either Fire, Arcane or Frost have a 25% chance to explode on impact, and if it does, it will deal an additional 50% damage to the target and all other enemies in range of 8 yards. But that's a total of 150% damage to all enemies within 8 yards, of course. That is actually very good AoE, but is it good for single target? I am not certain. And now down to what I think is the most overpowered of these three talents is the right level 75 talent slot is now filled by a new talent that will rise by specialization. Supernova cause a pulse of arcane energy around the target enemy or ally, dealing arcane damage to all enemies within 8 yards and knocking them up. If the primary target is an enemy, they take 100% increased damage. Replaces Frost Nova, has a 25-second cooldown, and is an instant cast. Whoa, guys! This is an instant cast. You will be able to knock enemies up in the air, and it will also deal a significant amount of arcane damage, I hope, within 8 yards, of course, and they will also take 100% increased damage from you, which is great actually if you have stacked your arcane blasts all the way up to 4 and throw it off right after. They will take so much damage. I mean, this is going to be very interesting to test out the damage when the beta goes live. If we move down to Fire, Blast Wave, and they have Blast Wave. If you're being a mage just like me, we mages used to have Blast Wave, but they removed it in Mist of Pandaria, and now they're making it back into the game. And what Blast Wave does is that it will cause an explosion of Fury Force around the target enemy or ally, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards and dazing them, reducing their movement speed by 70% for 4 seconds. If the primary target is an enemy, they take 100% increased damage. Replaces Frost Nova, has a 25% 25-second cooldown, and is also an instant cast. Basically, pretty much the same. Same cooldown, still an instant cast, 100% increased damage, of course, but also instead of knocking them up like Supernova did, it will now slow their movement speed by up to 70% for 4 seconds. Okay, I have no idea what went wrong with my voice there. I'm sorry, but anyway, 70%. That is more than Frostbolt does. Like, that is crazy, and it's AOE within 8 yards. Like, there can be up to 3 targets, something like that, for 4 seconds. So OP. But if we move down to the last but not least for Frost Mages, Ice Nova. Cause a whirl of icy wind around the target enemy or ally, dealing a frost damage to all enemies within 8 yards, and freezing them for 4 seconds. If the primary target... If the primary target is an enemy, they take 100% increased damage. Wow, what a cliche. Replaces Frost Nova and is a 20-second cooldown, and is also an instant cast. So this will, instead of slowing them or knocking them up in the air, it will instead freeze them. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing, and these are great for AoE. But I still think the Mage's bombs are best for single target, but that's my opinion. Very interesting to test these out when the beta goes live. Let's get down to another point of the video. One of the most problematic talent rows in the game has been the Mage level 90 row. True. The primary theme of the row was mana, which only Arcane mages actually cared about. Like Arcane mages go out of mana really quick. Bonus damage was added in, making it functional for all mages, but modeled in its goals. Additionally, some of them just weren't fun to play with, and we've revised the row to be purely about damage and made them have less maintenance cost. Arcane mages will have enough mana regeneration without these talents to perform well. So invocation has been removed. I don't really care because I didn't even use it. Mirror images is now a level 90 talent. What the fuck? Replacing invocation, and your mirror images will now inherit 50% of the mage's spell power all the way up from 5%. This is actually a very significant buff. But that, I don't know, Rune of Power no longer replaces evocation, but no longer increases mana regeneration, and now lasts 3 minutes up from 1 minute. Good, I suppose. Still best in PvE though, because you don't have to move around that much. Incaster's Ward has been removed. Ah, poor fella, I'm gonna miss that talent. Incaster's Flow instead is a new level 90 talent, replacing Incaster's Ward. Incaster's Flow, magical enemies flows through you, increasing all spell damage done by 5% per stack. While in combat, the magical energy builds up to 5 stacks over 5 seconds, and then diminishes down to 1 stack over 5 seconds. This cycle it repeats every 10 seconds. Okay, seems interesting in my opinion. So this will stack up over time. It might not be as good because if you want to burst off right away, you can't really afford to wait that long in order to. But you could activate this before you open and then go invisible, and then you will have maximum damage when you're about to open on your target. As I said, very interesting to test this out when the beta goes live. And Frost Mages enjoyed newfound PvE viability in Mist of Pandaria, and we intend to continue that into the future. However, we do want to clean up some rough spots, especially around their valuing of secondary stats and the amount of instant cast spells in their rotation. The Frost Armor and Shadow changes increase the amount of haste critical chance that they can acquire on gear before they start hitting soft caps. The Shadow change also lowers the value of critical strike for a bit, and the changes to the level 75 talent row meant that having a bomb spell is no longer guaranteed. So we changed the way that Brain Freeze is triggered. We also changed Brain Freeze effect in order to give Frost Mages another cast time spell in their rotation. Now, I didn't even understand that either, so don't worry. But here are there some points to sum it up a bit, alright? Frost Armor now grants a 15% chance to multi-strike instead of 77% haste. I don't really know what multi-strike is, sorry. We'll Google later on. But it will now replace haste, and you will instead have a chance to multi-strike. Glyph of Icy Veins now causes Icy Veins to provide 75% chance to multi-strike instead of 20% haste. Nice. Shatter now multiples the critical strike chance by 1.5 down from 2. Okay, that's a significant nerf there. The Brain Freeze effect no longer makes Frost Fireball instant, but it can now stack to 2. It also no longer triggers from the bomb talents and instead has a 10% chance to trigger from Frostball casts. Each multi-strike of Frostball increases that cast chance by an additional 45%. Total of 100% on double multi-strikes. So I think these new multi-strikes, I'm not even certain, but I think it is something you need. The more the better. The more multi-strikes in percent you have, the higher your chances to proc your Frostbite Bolt, etc. will be. And that is what I think it's the new shit. In order to make room for more haste haste effects to apply to Arcane Blast, we raised its cast time and damage slightly. We also made Arcane charges last longer to aid in questing and encounters. Arcane Blast cast has been increased up to 2.25 seconds, up from 2 seconds. And its damage has been increased by 12.5% to compensate. Fairly enough. Arcane charges now last 15 seconds, up from 10 seconds. A few buffs to Arcane too. So much text. But yeah, that was basically all there was to talk about for Frost mages. No, mages overall, sorry. They have changed a lot. And it will be interesting when the beta goes live and go and test these changes out by myself. The second part of the video is basically where we take a look at all of the mage's core spells are now class specific, like Arcane Barrage now replaces Fire Blast for Arcane mages, Arcane Blast now replaces Frost Fireball for Arcane mages, Arcane Explosion is now only available to Arcane mages, and Blizzard is now available only to Frost mages. Combustion now replaces Deep Freeze for Fire mages, Deep Freeze is only available to Frost mages. Dragon's Breath now replaces Cone of Cold for Fire mages. Evocation is now only available to Arcane mages. Flame Strike is now only available to Fire mages. Pyromaniac has been removed. What? Well, I don't even play Fire Mage anymore, but still it is a slightly nerf in my opinion. Frost Armor is now available only to Frost mages and now is a passive effect. Nice, so you don't have to activate your armors anymore. So they're bound to your specialization all the time. Iceland now replaces Fire Blast and is only available to Frost mages. Okay. Mage Armor is now available only to Arcane mages and is now a passive effect. Mana Gem has been removed. What the fuck, Blizzard, are you doing? Okay, I have no clue what just went wrong with my voice there, but I surely can assure you of that mana gems are very, very important for Arcane mages. Are you mad? They're very, very useful if you're low on mana. How am I supposed to get mana over time now on an encounter? How? Molten Armor is now available only to Fire mages and is now a passive effect. So all the mage's armor spells are now a passive effect based to your specialization. Shatter is now only available to Frost mages. So much more information also about the mage's core spells and much more spec specific. But this will also makes us think that it will also give us more space in our action bars, because some of our spells are spec specific now, and we probably think to ourselves, you probably think if they're not here anymore, and yes they are, they're just not available for your current spec, which is something we just have to get used to. There's actually a lot of things we have to get used to about mage changes, but I am sure we will do that in no time. And now also some little information about CC changes to the mage's primary CC spells. Dragon's Breath Disorienting effect now shares diminishing returns with all other mesmerize effects. Ice Ward Frozen effect now shares diminishing returns with all other root effects. Improved counterspell has been removed. Presence of Mind can no longer turn Polymorph into an instant cast spell. Well, what I read earlier, I still think it can, because it will be spec specific only to Arcane mages now, and Arcane mages do not have so much CC compared to Frost or Fire, so I think it still makes Polymorph instant. They should. And last but not least, we will also have perks. And what are these perks anyway, you probably ask? My thoughts on these perks are absolutely incredibly high. I'm really excited about these new perks, and perks are something that you'll receive from level 91 to level 99 as you level throughout Draenor. And what perks basically is that it will improve your core spells to your specialization. So let's start out with Arcane. We have the perk here, improved Arcane Barrage, and that will increase the damage dealt to secondary targets of Arcane Barrage from 50% to 100%. So this is an additional 50% increased damage to Arcane Barrage spread among the targets around your primary target. Enhanced Arcane Blast. Each stack of Arcane Charge now reduces the cast time of Arcane Blast by 5%. On Enhanced Arcane Missiles increases the maximum stacks of Arcane Missiles by 1. Improved Arcane Power. Arcane Power now reduces the cost of your spells by 10% instead of increasing the cost of them by 10%. Improved Blink. Your movement speed is increased by 60% for 2 seconds after using Blink. Improved Evocation reduces the cooldown of Evocation by 30 seconds. Improved Arcane Blast increases the damage of Arcane Blast by 20%. Improved Arcane Missiles increases the damage of Arcane Missiles by 20%. Improved Arcane Explosion increases the damage of Arcane Explosion by 20%. So these are the different perks. These are 9 different perks that you will receive, 1 per level as you level throughout Draenor. As you level from level 91 to level 99. And let's get down to fire. Improved Flame Strike. Flame Strike no longer has a cooldown. Oh, awesome. Enhanced Inferno Blast reduces the cooldown of Inferno Blast by 1 second. Improved Pyroblast increases the critical strike chance of Pyroblast by 15%. Oh god. Improved Inferno Blast. Inferno Blast now spreads the damage over time effects of Pyroblast, Ignite, and Combustion to 2 additional targets. Are you kidding me? This is so OP! Improved Combustion increases the duration of combustion by 20%. Improved Scourge. After casting Scourge, your movement speed is increased by 30% for 3 seconds. Oh god. Improved Fireball and Frost Fireball increases the damage of Fireball and Frost Fireballs by 20%. Improved Dragon's Breath increases damage of Dragon's Breath by 50%. Enhanced Fireball. When your Fireball fails to critical strike a target, you gain 5% increased chance for Fireball to be critical strike for 15 seconds. This effect ends when Fireball successfully crits on a target. And last but not least, Frost. Enhanced Frostbolt. Frostbolt's cast time is reduced by 0.5 seconds. This effect is disabled for 15 seconds after you benefit from it. Enhanced Ice Lance. Ring Fingers of Frost can stack 1 additional time. Oh god, you can actually be able to stack up to 3 Ice Lances now instead of 2. Improved Frost Nova. After casting Frost Nova, you will instantly teleport 10 yards behind you. Oh. It can be good, it can be bad. Like if you want to stay right on your target, and it will be pretty annoying if you get teleported back, but still very, very good if you want to escape. Improved Ice Events increases the amount of haste gained from Ice Events by 10%. Improved Frostbolt increases the damage of Frostbolt by 20%. Improved Ice Lance increases the damage of Ice Lance by 20%. Improved Blizzard. Each time Blizzard deals damage, it reduces the cooldown of Frozen Up by 1 second. Whoa! Improved Water Elemental. Your summoned Water Elemental now also knows the Water Jet spell. Water Jet challenges a jet of icy water at the target, dealing a certain amount of frost damage to the target over 4 seconds. The Mage's Frostbolt that hit the target while it's being blasted with icy water will grant a charge of Fingers of Frost. Jesus Christ. Improved Frost Firebolt increases the damage of Frost Firebolt by 20 seconds. Jesus Christ. This is amazing if you ask me. Like, so to sum up about mages overall and what I think about them, I think things are looking great. The bad things though is that is that mana gems are being completely removed, as well as improved counterspell, and as well as Incarce's Ward. I mean, that is the 3 things I'm gonna miss mostly about mages, but overall we have become much more class specific, and we have become much more easier, but also a lot of interesting talents has been added. And I've also made a talents preview for Warlords of Draenor for mages at level 100 talents. You can go back to one of my previous videos and search for it. But anyway, I think mages overall looks incredible. I will put links in the description, guys, where you can go and check this out by yourself and go see. And perhaps if you have a different opinion than me, then I'm more than appreciated to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, here, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.